Everybody, welcome back with the Plapper. Platypus is the name, and yes, we're talking about Fox again. Every day is a new day for Fox. So I've actually used him now. So before the character came out, right, I kind of did a video going over his skills, reading about him, and kind of just guessing if he'd be good or not. But, you know, given the context that I've played the game a lot, now I have actually used him quite a bit. I've built him to a pretty good extent, right? 95 is pretty good. Level 80, his weapon, I have his weapon, level 80 as well, and a lot of skills. So he's relatively built, and I've used him pretty much in every single fight since, I don't know, since the day he came out. I don't know if I've done a fight without him other than like in a two-part, you know, Velvet trial thing like that. So what do I actually think about him now? TLDR, I think Fox is better than I thought he would be. As of now, in the current state of the game, right? I'm not talking about 6 months from now. I'm not talking about a year from now. I'm not even talking about whatever. I don't know all the characters that are coming out and what all their kits are. Right now, Fox is like an S tier character, in my opinion. I think he is probably one of the 3 best characters in the game, along with, you know, Joker, Fox, and then probably Marion are probably my top 3 currently. And then Panther is probably right on the heels, if not up there as well. So he is honestly just very strong. Like, there's a lot of people talking about how weak he is, and and before he ever came out, and that might be because he falls off fast. I don't know. I can't say that, but right now, I mean, he is destroying every fight in the game. Maybe the game doesn't expect you to be level 80 at this stage. I don't know, but I mean, he is just doing great damage, blowing stuff up. So I want to kind of read his stuff, read his kit, and kind of go over, maybe give a little bit of tips about Fox as we do it. So first, let's actually read his kit here. What does he do? He is a counter-attack character. However, the counter-attack is resonance, which is a follow-up action. I don't like the term resonance, but whatever, I've complained about that enough. But basically, after he gets attacked with a skill, which I believe means literally anything. I don't know if I've ever seen an enemy attack without a skill, but when he gets attacked, he has a 65% chance to counterattack. Every time, always. It does damage equal to 88% of his defense, and change the effect to imagination by using a skill. So basically what this means, every time he gets attacked, he has a 65% chance to counterattack. You have a skill that'll turn that attack into a more powerful AoE, but for the most part, always active. He is going to have a 65% chance to counterattack with an 88% scaling skill. However, a lot of his stuff, a lot of his passives and his weapons and stuff will boost counterattack damage. So that 88% is actually quite a bit higher, honestly, after you include all the calculations. I'm not going to go into his other awarenesses because most people aren't going to have them. Awareness 1, like the awareness 1 and 2 are all very good. And honestly, awareness 4 and 6 are also kind of insane. So he has a lot of good awarenesses, but I just don't think it's super relevant. I don't recommend anyone pull for awarenesses in general. He is totally a functional, powerful character at awareness 0. However, if you're like, if Fox is your favorite character in Persona 5, like he is mine, I do think awareness 1 is a reasonable power up. But again, it is still a small power up comparatively to getting a whole other new character. So Frozen Presence, this is a skill. When in the previous video I said I don't know why the skill's in the game, I don't know what the purpose of it is. I stand by that. The skill sucks. I don't think I've literally ever used it other than when the game puts him on auto and they use it sometimes. I don't really care about him inflicting freeze on a target that much myself. Maybe it's good, I don't know. There may be some situations I really want to freeze someone, at which point I don't think I'd bring him, but I guess it's nice that it can. I wish this froze everybody. I don't think it's that powerful anyway. Bone Chilling Cold, this is basically what you're doing every turn. You can't use Keen Eye because you're going to use that every turn you can, but it has a cooldown. Does 5 hits of 83.8% damage. Very good. When it hits one target, it'll just do less damage each hit, but it'll still do a lot of damage overall. Otherwise, you could hit up to 5 targets with this, do pretty good damage to all of them. And if there's less than 5 targets, this just does a lot of damage in general. Very good single target, very good AoE attack. I like it all. Keen Eye is his bread, his butter, and his, I don't know, what else do you put on that? And the bacon? Do you put butter and bacon on a piece of bread? You could, sounds kind of good. This changes his counterattack to a new attack called Imagination. This increases your chance of counterattack to 100%. So you're guaranteed to get a counterattack next time he's hit by a skill. And you increase damage by 73.6%. So it does way more damage and it changes it so it targets all foes. So instead of your normal 65% single target, you're doing a 100% chance of an AoE that also does boosted damage. And if he doesn't actually get attacked, like let's say they all attack your ally, he will activate this at the start of his turn, or like the enemies just spend their whole turn healing themselves. This will still activate. You're not going to ever miss out on this damage. But that's not all it does. It also gives you a shield for multiple turns and increases your fire resist, so you don't have a weakness. And it nullifies spiritual ailments. I believe you can still get hit by like dizzy or something like that. I think there is like one ailment that could still hit you. And you inflict taunt on everybody. So you tank up, you get a lot more damage, and you become way harder, harder to kill, and you inflict taunt, so you are protecting your teammates. This is all within the context of him being a damage dealer primarily as well. So this is a damage dealer that is doing a pseudo tanking thing, which I think is just very cool. I like it a lot. This skill is always good to use because it does a bunch of damage. It also, like I said, just makes him harder to kill, gives him a lot of extra HP, gets rid of his defenses, his vulnerabilities, and it even protects your weaker allies. Fucking baller skill. Thief Tactics is highlight. It does like a decent attack, like 153% is good, but this is not like a broken skill by any stretch. But it is pretty good, and it makes it so your counterattacks happen 100% of the time for 3 turns. This has the Yuki thing where you want to use this to turn after, like basically you don't want him to be the slowest on your team, ideally, because if you use this on his turn, that 3 turns is immediately going to tick down to 2 turns. So ideally you want him to go, and then you want to use this before the enemies go. That way you get the full 3 turns of activation. But it is very good in general. Now, as far as his passives here, they read very similar, but they are a little bit different. One, each time a shield is gained with his own skills, he gets a 20% pierce rate. 20% pierce rate we know is good because everyone wants Marion specifically for that. So this being built in automatically is just great, right? That means every other turn he is going to get a 1 turn 20% pierce rate buff on his most important turn. So he is kind of always shredding defense, not shredding, but piercing defenses. I don't know exactly how much this equates to in damage, but it feels pretty strong. I've definitely noticed it on the turns where he has it versus where he hasn't. Then Painter's Focus. Each time a shield is gained, increased damage dealt to foes by 7.5% up to 6 times, right? So what is this, 39% damage, something like that? This happens every time anyone gives him a shield. When Puppet gives him a shield, he gives himself a shield, Wonder gives him a shield. All of these are adding up, so it's pretty reasonably easy to actually get this up to 6 stacks. I believe every time you get a shield, it extends it to 2 turns. I don't believe these are all stacked individually, like whatever, like the right to strike is on the Wind Boy. So I think when you do it, it's kind of hard to tell exactly, but it is not hard to get up to 6 stacks on this. It doesn't take very long at all. So obviously characters are very synergistic, but this doesn't feel like, this is just so synergistic together. Keen Eye does everything you want, makes him do an insane amount of damage. It buffs all of his passives. Fantastic. Honestly, he just does a lot of damage, and he's like freaking impossible to kill. He's also impossible to kill not just because he has gives himself shield and gets rid of his defense, or gets rid of his weaknesses, but he scales his damage with defense. So just by increasing his damage, you are also making him harder to kill. And one of the things that I thought was kind of weird, people were like, this guy is really difficult to build. He's really difficult to build. I mean, maybe he has a more narrow team, but he is the exact same build as Joker. It's not any harder than Joker. What does Joker want? He wants attack, crit rate, crit multiplier, and then total damage multiplier, right? I mean, that's literally all he wants. And then you come over here, what does he want? He wants attack, crit rate, crit multiplier, and total damage multiplier. The only difference is you're replacing attack with defense, right? I mean, it's literally all he does is he scales off the attack. Or sorry, all he does is scale off the defense. So just replace the attack buffs that you would want. Like if you're going on a character like here, you probably don't want 4 defense like I'm running right now. You probably don't want all these to be defense. You probably want one of these to be a crit rate, one of them to be a crit multiplier, and then one of them to be a defense, something like that. So he's really not hard or complicated to build, I promise. Very simple as a damage dealer, but to build him perfectly could be a little bit difficult in the sense it's hard to get all the right cards, but just stacking defense is plenty good enough. You're not going to get like the most insane damage, but he will be pretty much unkillable and he'll do a bunch of damage. Now his 5-star weapon I just did a video on, so I'm not going to go into too many details there. I think it is a pretty noticeable damage increase, of course, but I think the higher awareness you get on Fox and maybe the higher levels you get in general, the more his 5-star weapon becomes good, because this weapon makes counterattacking really powerful, which is most of his damage. However, if you have an awareness 0 Fox, this is going to get you most of your damage. It's really when you get, if you have like an awareness 2 Fox or an awareness 6 Fox, one of these things where your counterattacks become a more and more larger percent of your damage, then this weapon does definitely fall off because it just is increasing your ice damage in general. But if you have an A0 Fox, this is a very, very good weapon as well. So I'm not gonna crap on that weapon. So yeah, honestly, after reevaluating the character going around, I think he is stronger than I thought he would be. He plays good in auto. He's not the fastest because he does have a little bit of a ramping up mechanic with his weapon and kind of getting stacks of shields. And the team members you want to run with him are relatively narrow, right? Like, you're pretty much not going to run Fox without running Yuki. You can, but she is like built to make him better, right? She does all the things. Give one other ally a big shield, and you give them a big boosted defense, and you grant them like the blessing stacks doesn't really matter, but you give them defense, you give them shield. That increases his damage, increases his damage and his survivability and his scaling. And then Absolute Judgment does a decent amount of damage, but also this increases party damage and grant shield. So this increases his damage and increases his damage by more. Even her highlight here gives a bunch of defense to everybody, you know, so it all just works out. She's literally built to work with him. Obviously Puppet is very, very good. So that's kind of what I like is the issue is you might not have these characters built, right? You probably have Puppet built, but you might not have Yuki built. But if you have like, it's really good to have him because he has a team that doesn't have a lot of crossover units, right? Like when you're using Joker, you're using Rin pretty much all the time, and Rin kind of fits into every team always. She even fits into the Fox team. But with Fox, like, no one else is really fighting to put Yuki on their team. No one else benefits as much as Puppet does on the Fox team. It's just super good. So as for the 4th slot, it is a little bit of a filler slot. You can kind of decide which direction you want to go. You can go extra tanky, defensive. If you're like level 50 trying to push level 80 content, then Marion could be very good, increasing increasing the flat HP of all the party members. And basically giving a bunch of gavel stacks here makes your shield invincible, you know, basically makes your HP invincible, basically does scale damage. But I kind of like using, I've been using Sumi a lot just because he just fits well. I don't know how to explain it other than he just does good single target damage for the things Fox doesn't hit. I'm really happy with it. I don't think there's inherently a strong synergy there. You could obviously run Anne, you could run Rin to decrease the enemy's damage. That's very good. Soy works really good for decreasing enemies' defense. It's just like it's just a filler slot. It doesn't really matter who you bring for the most part. It's really Fox, Yuki, and then Puppet, and then you're set, bro. Very, very good team. So just for context, I mean, this is literally the team that I used when I was fighting him. I beat this fight, right? The level 30 of the new boss. Am I a whale in this game? It's debatable, I think. I think I'm more like higher dolphin. But I mean, whatever, everyone's definition is different. The point is I don't have A6 on any characters, but this is the exact team I used, right? Although I don't think I used this dagger. I might have. I would be skeptical if I used that dagger. I probably just I probably switched that and I switched this around, something like this. Probably Norn. This is probably what I did, because this dagger is good with him. Also, this isn't something I even really mentioned, but I think before, or didn't really think about, but Fox cares about having high defense, right? And thus units he's with care about having high defense. Wonder currently in the game has one good dagger. His damage dagger kind of sucks, but this dagger is actually really good. And it increases defense by 30%. So that is also like, he already works really well with Wonder in general, because Wonder is always running this dagger currently. So pretty much this is the team. I don't want to show you this fight here because I'm going to do that in a separate video. Let's actually save it. Bing. But yeah, just after playing with him for a couple days here, I actually think I've kind of doubled down. Maybe his peak will be short-lived. Maybe that his damage falls off, But I'm telling you, I just think he's an incredibly fun character to use. He's very flashy with his attacks. He's a personal character that I like. He has been incredibly powerful. He's for an element that I needed AoE damage in anyway. So I'm not going to say people should pull this character. I don't like telling what people should pull, because you just don't know like what other people's situations or pull currency and if they're going to spend or not. But I think if you do get this character, you're not going to be disappointed. I think that they're just good, you know. I think they put him really high up on they updated the tier list also to put him really high after his buffs, but that is in the current global version. In the CN version, they haven't. He's still pretty low. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy. Who knows how much time he has on his clock? All characters essentially have a clock in a sense, but he has been absolutely fantastic, and I'm a huge fan. Anyway, guys, that's all for this one. A little weird one. Just wanted to give you an update on my boy Fox here. And tomorrow I'll show you that level 30 fight. I'm gonna show you my team, and then I'm going to try to come up with a budget team that can also clear it. But maybe I'll do level 25 and then try again at level 30. It really wasn't that hard of a fight, if I'm being honest. But I still think it could be nice as a little bit of a boss guide. Anyway, much love for Platypus per Platypus. I'll see you on the flip flops. Bye.